Okay, we're going to see how this works. I've been thinking about this. I was going to do overviews of the trail every day on my videos, and really didn't have good light in the tent to really see what was going on. And so I decided to just wait and do a trail overview video. So if you're wanting to hike the Womble Trail, you wouldn't have to listen to me ramble for hour and a half. I think it's about what all the total videos I'd shot on the 3 days that I was out there. So started out here. Well, let's give credit to the compulsive hiker. Is the one that produces, the guy that produces these maps. He does an outstanding job of producing these maps, and I'll put a link in the description to his website. But I want to thank him very much for getting out here and taking the time to produce these maps. It sure makes it nice for us old guys that still like printing a piece of paper in the hand when we're out there looking around trying to figure out whether we can hike these trails or not. And Bluebell Cafe is a good shuttle service. Lori sure enough take care of you, see where you got to. She's more than willing to work with you as far as what you're trying to do. Even if you want to do some short sections in here, I'm sure she would fix you right up, because it's just a short 30-minute ride at the most from trailhead to trailhead on that. But Lori Bluebell Cafe, they're in Story, Arkansas, and I'll put her phone number and stuff also down in the descriptions. But anyway, I parked up on Highway 27 up on the Washita Trails, where I parked and took off on this trip, and had Lori bring me down here and drop me off at the North Lake is where I started, and North Fork Lake, I'm sorry, North Fork Lake is where I started at, is the southern terminus of the trailhead. So I'm working backwards on mileage points. So as you can see in here, there's a parking area, and you walk right beside the lake. You come up around, and the lake was up pretty high because they had quite a bit of rain, but it's still easy crossing. There are several creeks in there. And if you don't have water on you when you start on the trailhead, you're just going to look for water. That'd be the first place to pick water up, and probably need to pick water up there, because you got about a mile, 2 miles up the trail before you come across any reliable water, is what I would say. But got some switchbacks right in here. Comes up the trail. Real easy hiking coming up through here, because I'd always said in my videos that the trail on that trail is great. Of course, it's made, they keep got it for mountain bikes, but hiking, man, you can just cruise right along. So here you come up and cross the forest road that takes you down to the trailhead. That's your first road crossing, and then you come on up through the woods. Very pretty right in here, coming up through these parts of the woods, and you come up in here, and you're going to be walking in a valley, as you can see. A holler in there, drainage, whatever you want to call it. You can see the gradient lines. And that's where you come back to water, which would be pretty good ways off the trail, but the trail comes up here and crosses that stream twice. But the crazy thing about it, the middle part of that stream in there was dry. Water went back into the rocks. So if it's towards a dry year and you kind of see water in that area, you better pick up some water again if you're wanting water, because you're fixing to get on top of this ridge and go across here. And I believe it is about 6 miles across there before you come to water. Okay, so you walk up that holler, and you see where the trail turns back, switches over the holler, because you're actually walking up to the top of the mountain there, and you drop on under that ridge line. You start following that ridge line. Very beautiful in there. This would be a trail I'd recommend doing in the winter time, I believe, if he's able, not too cold, for the simple fact that I think there's going to be a whole bunch more views in there than what I got to look at with all the leaves on the tree. But you pretty much stay on this ridge line, coming all the way across here. It's pretty easy walking, like I said. You just kind of cruising across that ridge line. So you come basically working over here, and here's the next road crossing, which this is the main road that goes into Odom, I believe, is where it goes into. So if you just want to drop water, it'd be an excellent place to drop water. Easy walk from the lake up to there. Cross back up in here, get back up on the ridge. If I remember correctly, this was a lot of burn area in here, so it was kind of open for me. Come across walking, and you're just basically back in there climbing, working your way back in them hollers, coming out of there. Some of these little switchbacks was very beautiful. Reminded me of being out into the Smoky Mountains, the way you worked out on the trail on there. So we come across here. You work this ridge line up through here. There's a camera view. There again, I believe in the winter time that would be very beautiful. But it was pretty much grown up. Not a whole lot we could see out there. But once you get up here, you can see this is pretty much a solid ridge walk all the way across through here. And it just kind of keeps working your way across in here. Never really come across any what I would call reliable water through this section. So we get over there to the 30-mile mark, and we're going to switch maps. So we come here to the 30-mile mark. Back there again, we'll just come off that map. But like I say, you're still on top of that ridge line, coming across in there, working your way through the ridge, just over the ridge a lot of places. I think we're back to the north side of the ridge in this part of the trail. Still easy walking. There's some short climbs in there, but they're not real steep. Jotting back through there, and you finally kind of walk that whole ridge out, and you get here and you start down, and we start here towards this, they call it Crossview Spur, is right here, and there is a creek right in here. It looks like probably has water year round. There's lots of moss on the rocks. Like there's maybe some pools of water in here. This spur trail in here, I'm assuming it walked up to the view. I never really found no good information on it. It was all growed up, and it looked like a good place to get a good load of ticks on you going up through there in the summertime. Wintertime, it may be worth walking up here and seeing what you can actually look out, because you could stand here and see the top of the ridge from there, so it may be something worth walking out too. This is kind of walking that creek bottom in there. You come in there in a pretty deep draw in between the two mountains. There's water right in here, real good water right in this part of the camp area, or part of the trail area, I'm sorry. Now, one thing about the Womble Trail, like I said earlier, I never really seen established campsites where people may be, stopping and getting water and actually picking their campsites, I guess, is like you seen on the Washita Trail. If you ever hiked the Washita Trail, how you'd actually, a lot of times you'd come across good views or places you need water, you would see an established campsite. Never really come across that here on the Womble Trail. And I'm just looking over here at my notes, making sure I told you exactly where I was at. So right in here before you got to the 26-mile mark, as you see in between these gradient lines in here, these two mountains just walking in between. Coming up that creek area, I had found a little flat spot in there right by the creek, and that's where I made my camp at. And of course had water on two different places in there. The creek kind of wide in there. I'm sure that one leg dries up, but the other one probably is holding water. We're getting pretty close. There is a forest road in here. Some of it must be right in there. There's a forest road right in there. So if that's right, I may have been camping right in here somewhere. Is where I made camp at. I was just wanting to post up before the 270 highway crossing. I wasn't really for sure. That was my first day, so I come all the way up in there. About 11 miles is what I come, something like that. So day 2, come up here, crossed over Highway 27. This area here. It had been looked like a prescribed burn down in there. Very beautiful right in there, especially kind of got back in here in this little hall. There's a little holler back in there. Very, very beautiful. Ferns growed up everywhere. Like I say, reminded me of the out in the Smoky Mountains. Very beautiful. So coming across Highway 27, there's water in between the highways here. Pretty good water flow, whether you want to, a lot of people don't, like to drink water running off hot roadways, but I'm sure it's probably running out of the ground in there somewhere or another when you get to looking at the way the land's laid out in there. There is some campsites in this area. Right in here, there's 2 creeks you cross actually between these two. So now then, I never called and found out for sure, but I was over there last month helping with the Ouachita Challenge, the bike race, and I drove to this campground and I drove to this campground, and both of them had signs up everywhere, day use only. And as you can see, I think this is a 1 mile and 4/10 off trail to get to there. They do have pit toilets at both of these sites. If you choose to walk down there and take your chances camping, which you probably call the forestry and see if you can camp in there. If they let hikers camp in there only. Probably just about easy to do a little road walk. It's not that far, straight there and straight back. But then again, this trail looked like it was kind of growed up a little bit once they got up here to this point. Up here at the Highway 298 road crossing, I had actually camped right in here when we was doing the Ouachita Challenge. Took a bigger tent. There's some dirt piles, kind of a little trashy in here where it looks like someone's pulled up there and thrown some trash out. But if you kind of walk past it, you're hid back in there pretty good. If you wanted to camp there at 298, just past the parking lot, veer left past the left side of that dirt pile back in there. Alright, so we come out of the 298. This has all been prescribed burning here. It is nice, easy walking. No grass, trail's real clear. 23-mile mark. Coming here, this is the Fulton Branch. This looks like if you're coming in here after a big rain, this may be a tough crossing. You're going to have to pay attention to your weather. But you could probably, as you're right in this part of it, you can actually see that road. It looks like that's the well-established road, and this is a forest road. It's not driven much. Let's put it that way. So if you got down there and you couldn't get across the Fulton Branch in that area in there, then you could probably get across it by going up there doing a road, crossing the road. Good water source though, pretty creek. Come up through here. I took some pictures basically going down that Fulton Branch and reposition myself here. This Fulton Branch, there again, this is all growed up. I don't think no one uses it. Like I say, you can tell the path is used by mountain bike guys and gals, and I can see why, because it is beautiful through there. So I can see why they're using it. We come on across here 22. This is just pretty much straight out walking. It's pretty easy through here again. So I'm checking my other map. I made notes. Of course, took a smaller version of paper with me out there to make notes in there. So let's switch over to a different map. So we get over here to, we're basically coming in here on 21, 22 area. Back here in 21, this is back that easy walking area in here. Here again, you're just kind of circling through some nice timber, and you start to climb right in here. You'll start climbing, coming up through here. Now when you get around 20 up in this area, kind of pay attention. There's lots of 2-lane roads up in that area, or just bike roads. You can tell where people's been driving up deer hunting, so you kind of got to keep your head up. Just watch for the blazes. You'll find the trail across here. Here again, here's another one of those campgrounds down there. This one I don't have a clue about. I didn't drive down to it. But you can see how far off trail it is. It's I think it was like 2.5 miles off trail. Plenty of places to camp in here. If I remember correctly, you walk up here this hard turn in the trail. There's 2 gates up there, private property, back in this area. I'm assuming that's what that brown is probably. So it is, but it is real flat and level in there. But I didn't find any water in this area, so you're gonna have to bring you some water with you as you come. So you come on up, climbing, get up on top there, and you start back down again. Come across here. Now you think our map maker here, compulsive hacker, screwed up because he's got 2 number 19s. There is actually 2 19 pins drove up in that area. So I figured a couple of old surveyors down there arguing who was right, and so they just put one he thought it was, another one put it where he thought he was right. Of course, they make a good story, but that's just speculation. This is a good pond right here. Looks like it's probably a deer hunter's camp in the fall. There's a fire ring, lots of level places to put tents up right up here. But that is a pond. Looks like it's pretty clean. Probably wouldn't hurt to get water out of if you're coming across during the dry part of the year. And that's probably going to be a good water source for your next ridge walk. But you do cross some creeks in there, depending, like I say, depending on when you come across there after rain or whatever. You may be coming across, because I came across plenty of water. Water never was an issue. It didn't bother me walking with a liter of water or less. Get a little worried when I get down to the bottom of it. I always came up on water and tanked up and took off. Walking around this mountaintop here, you're walking around it. Nice easy walk. Very beautiful in there. This has been all prescribed burned in this part, so it's all open. You can see way out in the timber. It's beautiful. 19 or 18 there, you cross another road as you come out, and I believe right in here you come across a creek, if I remember correctly. You're walking right out beside a creek. So another good place to get water. Come across that creek and you'll start climbing back up. As you can see by the gradient lines, you're heading back up on the ridge again. Excuse me. So coming across the ridge top, very beautiful. You can see across to this other ridge over here. I believe in the winter time that'd be a super view all the way down through there. Really nothing spectacular in that area, just walking. But it's, you know, puts your mind at ease, just keep cruising. Not a thing to be worried about at all coming across that part of the trail. So we come across here, come on out, get to mile 14, you'll start catching a glimpse of the lake and river area in there. Very pretty up in this part. And then once you get up in here, this is a big old overlook in here. This is where you take a little time to take a look and see. The lake was in flood stage, so all this was basically, I was looking at a big lake, looking at part of the lake. You can see where the timber was flooded in that part of the area. Very beautiful in there, so take some time when you come across there. Be a great camp spot up high on the ridge. Of course, you're going to have some water with you up in there. And then you're going to walk out here. You'll have another climb right in there. You'll be going, man, if we're going downhill, why do I got to go uphill so steep? But you can see right in here, you're headed to the top of the mountain. And it falls off pretty much straight off down in here. And come to the AR-27 parking area. It's a road walk from that parking area all the way out here to where you cross Highway 27, across the lake on the bridge. Alright? So as we come out here and cross the lake on the bridge, it's all, of course, all open. This drops you back into the kind of the flood plain of the lake is where it's dropping you into. Like I said, the water's pretty high, water's pretty close to trail in place or two. And I was getting late in the day and the mosquitoes was trying to carry me off. So I was moving across here in that, what I call that old black bottom looking area. All the water has that rusty looking on the top of it. Really no valuable Worst case scenario, yeah, I'll filter it and use it. But I kept moving on up the trail, and was starting to come across more water, more cleaner water, so I just kept on moving. Got up out of the mosquitoes, basically, and I kind of where it starts climbing back in here is where I pulled up and made camp at, and had to walk just a little ways back down the trail to some running water, and that's where I spent my second night on the trail. It was right there. There again, no established camp. I just found my level spot just offside of the trail, pulled up and camped. So we got up next morning. You got a little hill climb, and we start back down, then we kind of drop back into a little valley, then we start climbing again. Now this is probably the most beautiful part of the Womble Trail. This is where you walked all this distance, and it's paying dividends, because you come out and you start looking down that lake. Awesome, very nice, beautiful bluffs area in here. You're looking out on that lake. Come back in here, turns you back. You go all the way back into the draw. There's water right there running. They got a 10 horn. It's easy to cross the water there. You don't even have to worry about getting wet. Come back on out to this part of the bluffs, and this is where it really gets beautiful, man. It's beautiful. This whole walk across here. You can walk on out at that point if you want to. But the trail makes a double back and drops you straight back off down into the bottoms again. Right there at the bottom there is water in that area, and you start headed back towards Highway 88. Pretty easy walk again, coming all the way up through Highway 88, and I think you walk along beside this creek, you can hear it, and there's a couple little trails running across it. You can get water on up here a little bit easier. I had a food drop right here on Highway 88. I knew this is where I'd be close to walking on out for the last day. Didn't need it. I was ahead of schedule, man. That tread was great. Those of you that hike know what it means when I use the term walking in a green tunnel. So you just kind of head down, walking on out. But this part back down here made all the difference in the world and in the trail. I had planned on getting water right here at the Highway 88, just above it. But I went to, there was like a little slough area between the trail and the creek. Went over and found me a water boxkin, wading grass. I said, okay, we're not going to do that. Turned and went back to the trail. Done my food drop. I had just about a quarter liter. I walked up the trail, and when you start to make a climb about right in here, if you'll pay attention, there's a pretty good ditch, probably just water only running out of it when it's raining. And you start to climb up, and there was a road in there that you could actually see that road. And when you got right there, there's a nice little peninsula. It's not, I'm not going to say it's not growed up, but it's easy walking to the creek. You can hear the creek running. You can walk right down there real easy. Don't have to worry about too much about stepping on a snake. Get watered up and get ready to go all the way to Story Creek. So you're we're at about the 7 mile mark. Yep. Excuse me, 7 mile. Okay, camera decided to shut off here for some reason. So you're climbing back up through here. You come along, there's some clear cut areas that you're walking beside. Just kind of cruising along. Heading right on up the trail. Just trying to make sure I tell you on the map correctly where Story Creek is, but that's close to the end. So we come on up through the end of our trail. It's pretty easy walking out through here. You got another muddy creek, I believe, is right here at the 5 mile mark. And but you got a little climb coming through there, not bad at all. Get back up on the ridge. Come on through here, drop back down, and drop into, I believe this is Story Creek, where we, excuse me here, make sure I'm giving the right info. Should have marked this on the map a little bit better. So, no, that's not Story Creek, but you do cross I think one of these is Muddy Creeks in here. I'm not 100% sure of the name of them. But anyway, you walk out here to this parking area at D75A Road. Now, if you're using the All Trails map, the All Trails map is going to tell you the Womble Trail is, you're at mile 0 at the Womble Trail. But as you can see, you still got about 3.5 miles walk to the Washita Trail before you actually get out of here. And you come out of the parking area, you'll cross a little bitty creek. There is a road right through there, and I thought that was a trail, and I made a mistake walking up there and turning my walk back, and I had missed that. As soon as you cross that creek, make a left-hand turn. Walk right back in the brush. You come right there at the end, there's another junction of trailheads in there. You want to go to the Story Creek shelter, you can head off over that way. Pick the Washita Trail back up. Pretty steep switchbacks coming here. You can tell now why they didn't, probably why the mountain bikers don't use this much, because you start getting back to that Washita Trail feel here for sure. Back to some of them steep climbs. You climb back out through here, come to the top, drop back down again, working our way around here to the 2-mile mark. And that camera lost the zoom. My apologies. Pick that back up there. 2-mile mark. We're on the ridge top. We get back around here. Is basically this has the Washita Trail feel to it. Past the 1-mile mark, there you got Story Creek. Good place to get water. Take a break, rest up, because you're in for a climb. You're climbing back to the top of the mountain again, because you're headed towards that Washita Trail. Come up here, there is another small forest road right in here, but just little short switchbacks, steep climbing, no real good way to get rhythm in there, but you'll climb out to the Washita Trail. Then once you get to the Washita Trail, we got about 5.6 mile, 5-mile walk back out. So those that you hike the Washita Trail know it's a pretty good climb. You get up on top, you walk the ridge, drop back down into that Muddy Creek. I believe that's Muddy Creek you drop into. See the word creek? Where's we at? I think that's Muddy Creek. I'm almost sure it is. You cross Muddy Creek because you cross that. Yeah, it is Muddy Creek because you walk across the bridge. Now, there is a good camping spot right in there too. And that's a real good river in there. A good come across during the summertime. Is a good place to stop and swim and cool off for the night. But river bottoms in the evening time, you know what you're going to deal with: mosquitoes. Come back here and we're going to climb again. Climb back to the top. Heading on out to the parking area. Drop back down in the valley again. Make your last climb out. There you are at Highway 27. And that's kind of the overview of the trail. Makes for a good 3-day trip depending on your pace. That's what mine was. Here's another map that's produced by the Forestry Service. It gives you a short overview of stuff of it. You can kind of see in there how the trail is snaked. So